I'm sure you've heard the phrase by now that sitting is the new smoking, but what effect does sitting have on your mental health, particularly depression and anxiety? That's what we're going to explore in this video. How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another Mental Health Mondays. My name is Chris Sovey from healthyconsumer.com. Mental Health Mondays is where we discuss topics like depression, anxiety, stress, and everything related to those subjects. So if that sounds like something that interests you, subscribe and hit the little bell so you never miss another video again. It's pretty well established in the literature now that sitting for prolonged periods of time has extremely detrimental effects on your body. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One is compression. We're sitting in that chair, so our spine is getting compressed. Our visceral organs are getting compressed. It impedes our blood flow. So we know that that causes an increased risk of death, increased risk of mortality for all causes. So it's well established that the physical body itself is greatly affected by sitting. But what about your mental health? How is that affected by sitting for prolonged periods of time? Typically, prolonged sitting is defined by the research as sitting for any longer than 20 to 25 minutes at a time without getting up or stretching or doing any of those things. There's now evidence too that, no surprise, mental health is affected by sitting for prolonged periods of time too. So that can include things like depression and anxiety. And there are studies that are starting to confirm that as well. Seems kind of like one of those duh factors, right? You're looking at that like, do we really need a study for that? Well, I guess we do. It's almost like saying exercise is good for you. In a minute here, I'm going to show you some practical solutions to sitting for prolonged periods of time. One other thing that I'm pondering is, why does sitting for prolonged period of time affect our mental health? Is it a lot of the same mechanisms as what happens to the body? How your spine is compressed, how the organs are compressed, how there's less circulation to the body? Well, it's probably a combination of a lot of those things and even more. For one thing, if we're sitting for prolonged periods of time, then we have time to ruminate on our thoughts. So if you're somebody that suffers from depression or anxiety, you're depressed, you're going to sit there, you're anxious, you're going to sit there, you're going to think about these things over and over. You're going to continue to focus on negative thinking patterns. Whereas if you're up and moving, you've got some of those feel-good hormones like norepinephrine, dopamine, things, all these feel-good chemicals flooding into your body, which is great and is going to help you feel better. As I've said in other videos, the best solution for this is to get up, get out, and get moving in whatever way you can. It doesn't need to be aggressive exercise. Sometimes just a brisk walk is going to make a profound difference in how you feel. If you have a commitment that you cannot get away from the chair, at least get up and take a break every hour. Even if that just means getting up, doing a couple quick stretches, stretching out long, taking a couple deep breaths, and then sitting back down to continue your project. Although I would encourage you to strongly consider rethinking what your priorities are in spending and start to invest in something like a standing desk and maybe even a treadmill desk. I've shown that experience of what it's like to walk on a treadmill desk on my other videos, so you can check that out in the description below. It's very possible to work and feel good. By the end of the day, if I've been working a lot, I've walked several miles just while I'm working because I've had a treadmill underneath me and my blood's flowing. I've found that I'm more focused and I'm able to get more done over the period of a day. The models that I use in my home office can be found in the description below. Just in case you haven't seen my treadmill desk video, I highly encourage you to check out that video as well. This is what it's like to work at a treadmill desk. I've got a treadmill down at my feet. You can see that closer in detail in my other video, but this is how I would work. This comes up and down, so I can bring this up and down there, so I could sit down, put a little stool or chair on my treadmill, and then I can work at a pace as slow as 0.5 miles per hour or up to 2 miles per hour, which getting up there, you're going pretty quick when you're trying to type on the keyboard. But this, to me, is the long-term solution if you're going to be on a computer and there's not much you can do about it. I think it's critical to consider what your health is worth. And when you look at the price tags of things like this, it might seem like a lot. What is that in comparison to degenerative disc disease or significant stenosis in your spine? It is such a small sacrifice in order for you to be able to feel better, because health is wealth, and that's really what it comes down to. If you can't move, then everything in your life is going to suffer. So I know this is difficult for a lot of people to wrap their heads around, but if you don't have a job, that will allow you to have something like a treadmill desk, or at least a standing desk, a sit-to-stand desk, then it might be time to consider to find another job, because an employer should value their employees, and it's in the long term in their best interest as well, so they don't have to pay for as many sick days or pain days that you have from the back pain you've had to sit for 10 hours at a time. So think about that. I hope this was helpful, guys. This has been another episode of Mental Health Mondays. Remember to get up, get out, and get moving. If this is your first time on the channel, subscribe and hit the little bell so you never miss another video. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday.